want to thank you for joining us today. The 2019 Community Congregational United Church of Christ Black History Program. It is an honor to have you here with us today. I come before you to introduce our speaker who really needs no introduction. Milton C. Davis is a noted scholar, orator, litigator, and freedom fighter. I will not read his entire bio that you have listed in the program, but I do want to highlight a few things that I think is important for us to recognize. Milton Davis was born in Tuskegee, Alabama, as a graduate of Tuskegee University with a Bachelor of Science degree in political science. Graduated from the University of Iowa College of Law, earning the degree of Juris Doctor. He was one of the first African Americans named as an assistant Attorney General of the state of Alabama. But more importantly, he received nationwide acclaim for his role in securing the full pardon based on innocence from the state of Alabama for Clarence Lawrence, the last of the Scottsboro Boys. Davis then returned home to Tuskegee to practice law. So Davis served 25 years in the United States Air Force Reserves as a JAG Corps officer, turning the rank of Lieutenant Colonel. He was an adjunct professor of business law at Tuskegee University's College of Business for 5 years. So Davis received and served as 8 years for a member of the Alabama State Bar Board of Examiners. He has served on numerous committees of the Alabama State Bar Association and also president of the Macon County Bar Association. He is a life fellow of the Alabama Law Foundation and a former member of the Lawyers Advisory Committee for the U.S. District Court for the Middle District of Alabama, as well as a former member of the Lawyers Advisory Committee for the U.S. 11th Circuit Court of Appeals. Mr. Davis served as the board of directors for the Central Alabama Community Foundation, which oversees the investment and distribution of over $60 million to charities and nonprofit entities throughout Southeast Alabama. He is a former member of the Board of Directors of Leadership Alabama, a distinguished network of Alabama leaders. Davis is the Vice President and serves on the Board of Directors of the Lionel Richie Foundation. It's also important to note that it's listed in his bio, he has served 4 years as the 29th General President of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity, the first African American collegiate fraternity founded at Cornell University in 1906, now with over 200,000 members, and was General President in 1996 when the United States Congress passed the legislation and President Clinton signed into law the bill authorizing Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity, incorporated the exclusive right to construct the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial on the National Mall in Washington, D.C. That being said, it cannot say that I, as an Omega man, discriminate against anyone who does good work, and we have an Alpha man serving as our keynote speaker. But I could not think of a better person to serve here based on the body of work that Milton Davis has done in the courtroom, he has done throughout this country on behalf of many people, those who you know and those who many of you don't. Therefore, it gives me great privilege that the voice you'll hear after the choir will be that of our keynote speaker, Milton C. Davis, Esquire. Thank you.
To the senior pastor, Reverend Ramondo Stella, the church moderator, Judge Stephen Reed, the chair of the Board of Trustees, Dr. Joe Reed, church officers, the Black History Committee, members of this church, visitors, and friends of Community Congregational United Church of Christ. Good afternoon. Thank you for your kind invitation to share this afternoon with you and express thoughts around the theme for this Black History program, Black immigration, faith in God, strength, and community. In Montgomery, Alabama, we are constantly reminded and inspired by being in this city, where history and the present meet every day with awesome lessons of life We are surrounded on every side with dramatic and piercing symbols and memories of the great sacrifices and struggles which bring us to this day and to this hour, commemorating Black history. Montgomery, Alabama, is the epicenter of the modern human rights movement in this nation. From the legacy of being one of the nation's largest thriving human slave markets to the capital of the Confederate States, the place where the order was given to start the Civil War by attacking Fort Sumter, to the bus boycott of the 1950s, to the current and continuing struggle for justice. This is the place from Birmingham, Selma, Montgomery to Tuskegee, the Civil Rights Trail, where everything was laid on the line, seeking justice and rights guaranteed under the Constitution of the United States for all citizens, regardless of race, creed, or color. From the newest edition of the Equal Justice Initiative with its Legacy Museum and Lynching Memorial, to the Rosa Parks Museum, to the Dexter Avenue King Memorial Church, the First Baptist Church, to Mr. E.D. Nixon, Mrs. Johnny Carr, and the Montgomery Improvement Association, the Greyhound Bus Station Museum, where the Freedom Riders were brutally attacked, to the steps of the Capitol, where the Selma and Montgomery marches came by the thousands, to countless other people, events and circumstances which history may never record, but were crucial and critical and vital to the upward mobility, the migration, if you will, of people of color from slavery to freedom. The migration brings us to this day, February 24, 2019, this hour and this place, Community Congregational United Church of Christ, where the spotlight is not on me as the speaker of the hour, but rather on each of us in this assembly this afternoon, to declare within our own mind, heart, and soul, what am I going to do to advance this cause and this struggle for human rights and dignity, this call for full justice for all under the Constitution of the United States. What am I doing to make a difference in the outcome of things? That was the challenge before. And the generation before us took the challenge. They made a difference. And that's why we are here in this place with all of these titles, with all of these positions, judge, attorney, lawyer, legislator, whatever they are because others ahead of us took the challenge and decided that they would act, they would make a difference in the outcome of things, and that things were not so bad, they were not so tough that they couldn't rise to the occasion. This program this afternoon is not about me. It is about us. Silence is not an option. We cannot withdraw and retreat into our private cocoon. Nor is complacency, becoming jaded and numb. That is not an option, as each new day brings a greater outrage than the day before, an erosion of decency in this nation, our state, and our community, to to the point where we accept things as the new norm. No, things are not normal, and things are not right in the city of Montgomery, the state of Alabama, nor in the United States of America. Human migration is the movement by people from one place to another with the intention of settling permanently or temporarily in a new location. That is what some people are attempting to do today, fleeing terror, hardship, poverty, and oppression in South American nations and places in the Southern Hemisphere. They are migrating, coming toward the United States, a place that has a symbol of the Statue of Liberty holding freedom that says, come here, and we will give you an opportunity and a chance in this world. The movement is often over long distances, and the factors that cause people to migrate include social, political, and economic conditions under which people must live. Historically, as far as African Americans are concerned, we had a great migration, sometimes known as the Great Northward Migration. And this was a migration where an estimated 6 million African Americans out of the rural southern United States moved physically to the urban Northeast, Midwest, and West part of the United States between 1916 and 1970. Domestic terrorism from the Ku Klux Klan, Jim Crow laws, racial prejudice, and brutal discrimination and white supremacy made life unbearable for millions of African Americans in the southern states of our country. During that period of time, over 6 million black people decided that they should physically leave one place and move themselves elsewhere in order to survive and make life better for themselves and their families. Since the Civil Rights Movement, a less rapid reverse migration has occurred. Dubbed the New Great Migration, it has seen a gradual increase of African American movement back to the South, generally to states and cities where economic opportunities are the best. The reason for this so-called reverse migration is the growth in jobs in the New South, lower cost of living, family and kinship ties, and improved racial relations, caused in large part by the progress made after the 1965 Voting Rights Act, which occurred after the Selma to Montgomery Civil Rights Movement. Those who chose to physically migrate elsewhere and build a new life should be honored and respected for their decision. They did what they felt they had to do for themselves and their family. Those who chose to stay in the rural South and through faith in God and strength in community helped build a new South where now many whose families left in the Great Migration North are returning to the South, to their family and kinship ties and improved racial relations. They too are owed deep gratitude, honor, and respect. Sometimes you must physically leave a place and a situation which threatens your very life and existence and that of your family. Other times I suggest that the migration should not be physical, but psychological. You have to move and migrate from one place in your mind, your spirit and your soul, which is negative perhaps, and self-defeating, and migrate intellectually, emotionally, spiritually, to a place within your very being, which finds you in a place which says, regardless of the circumstance, that here I stand, as the song says, like a tree planted by the water. I shall not be moved. I am going to make a difference in the outcome of things right here. I'm not going anywhere. Sometimes you have to mentally migrate to a place within your own being, which says, regardless of what anyone else says or does, this little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine right here, right now. The right attitude always affects your altitude. The story is told that once the great abolitionist, Frederick Douglass, was giving a speech in upstate New York, and Harriet Tubman, the heroine of the Underground Railroad, was in the audience during the speech. As Douglass's zeal and energy appeared to be flagging, Harriet Tubman stood up and shouted, "Frederick! Frederick! Is God dead?" With that clarion call to arms, Frederick Douglass's spirit was renewed. The great gospel singer, Miss Mahalia Jackson, sang a song which asked the question, how I got over. My soul looks back and wonders how I got over. A strong, unwavering, profound belief and faith that God lives, undergirded, surrounded, supported, nourished, and sustained us as a people across the ages. Faith in God has gotten us over. Faith in God has motivated the individual and collective acts of sacrifice and struggle, which we honor and respect during this celebration and observance of Black history. Faith is defined as the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. As I look around this assembly, this extraordinary gathering, it does not take any expertise on my part to discern that all of us here are the great fruits of the faith of our ancestors, our fathers and mothers, our sisters and brothers. We are the substance of things they hope for, the evidence of the mighty presence of God in the affairs of the universe. We are part of the legacy which flows from all of the symbols, memorial, historic marks, and displays throughout this city. The torch is passed to us. We, collectively in community, must carry the legacy forward to the next level. They, many, and for the most part, are gone. We are here. If we fail to progress to the next level, then we betray all the people, the events, and the circumstances which we claim to honor and respect with this gathering and observance. Our life is our light, but each light is a mere flicker by itself. Bringing those flickers of light together creates a huge blaze, a powerful glow, seen from afar, which radiates out. The collective effort of bringing together our intellects, skill sets, experiences, zeal, energy, and creativity creates community. When we center all of these things around our core beliefs, our core faith in God, the coalescing around shared values, ideals, and goals creates community. Strength is the quality or state of being where you exert focused energy. Muscle, power, and toughness are factors related to having strength. If you don't have any muscle, you don't have any strength. If you don't have any belief, you don't have any mental toughness or strength. If you don't have any shared value, you don't have any spiritual strength. Strength also has the connotation of being stable, solid, and durable enough to resist a countervailing force. You don't have any strength if you can't take a punch. If the first pushback against you is going to knock you out, you don't have any strength. To have some strength, you've got to be able to withstand something. And then persevere, move on. In the face of everything that was placed against you. You have to have the power and the ability to resist attack and remain viable. That equals strength. What do we do with all of this religious fervor, this collective strength through community? Frederick Douglass said that the most important thing in this life is not so much where we stand, but rather in which direction we are moving. Like a ship, he said, we must sail sometimes with the wind and sometimes against the wind. But we must sail and not drift, nor lie at anchor. Soon, in the city of Montgomery, we will elect a new leader for this city. This will be an historic election, and everyone must play a positive role in determining the outcome of things in this critical exercise of democracy. We have come through a time in the last couple of years where we have seen a total decapitation of the government of the state of Alabama. It was only last month in January 2019, after the November 2018 election, that Alabama recovered from the removal of the Chief Justice of the Alabama Supreme Court, Roy Moore, for his failure to abide by the Constitution of the United States, the removal of the governor, Robert Bentley, following a guilty plea deal amidst public corruption, and the removal of the Alabama Speaker of the House of Representatives in the legislature, Mike Hubbard, convicted of felony and crime. Every branch of government, the legislative, executive, and judicial, decapitated in Alabama because we could not and did not put the right people in the right place. In the midst of all of that, we see an almost daily outrage of some kind from the White House, with no credible response from others in power. We witnessed a rapid decline and erosion of our historically black colleges and universities to the point where some may soon close forever. Our communities are racked with gun violence, physical deterioration, and family dysfunction. Many of our young people have lost hope and have no focus or direction in life. Our institutions at all levels are in dire straits. We are faced, brothers and sisters, with the urgency of now. This clarion call first declared decades ago by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. when he stated, "We are faced with the fact that tomorrow is the day." We are confronted with the fierce urgency of now, said Dr. King. He continued by saying, in this unfolding conundrum of life and history, there is such a thing as being too late. This, he said, is no time for apathy or complacency. This, Dr. King declared, is a time for vigorous and positive action. Dr. King described the urgency of his time as the fierce urgency of now. Fierce means brutal, ferocious, aggressive, powerful, and violent time. And they were. Dr. King also described his time as the conundrum of life. Conundrum means confusing and difficult times filled with dilemmas and questions. All of those things Dr. King and his community experienced over 50 years ago, right here in the city of Montgomery, Alabama, and in this state, and across this nation. Dynamite bombs exploding at Dr. King's home at 309 South Jackson Street, while his wife and infant daughter, Yolanda, were in the house. The bombing of the 16th Street Baptist Church in Birmingham, killing Eddie Collins, Cynthia Wesley, Harold Robinson, and Carol McNair, 4 little girls whose life was honored recently through a play at the Montgomery Shakespeare Theater. These times which we experience today are just as fierce. A neo-Nazi entered Mother Emanuel AME Church in Charleston, South Carolina during Bible study and killed 9 people, including the pastor of the church for mental care. Neo-Nazis marched in Charlottesville, Virginia, with torches, attacked African Americans and others on national television, and then ran an automobile at full speed into a crowd and killed Helen Hyde and injured many more. The President of the United States cannot find any words to condemn such an act of hate and murder. The President of the United States comes to Alabama and denounces Colin Kaepernick, an American citizen and an African American person, for exercising his constitutional right to peacefully protest, while simply kneeling without disturbing others during the playing of the national anthem. And to cheers and applause, the president provokes hatred of Colin Kaepernick and all other NFL players who exercise their right of symbolic speech. White citizens, especially white men, can freely exercise their constitutional rights under the Second Amendment of the Constitution of the United States to openly carry guns and firearms on their person. But when a black man, Emmanuel F. Bradford Jr., walks through a mall in Birmingham and exercises his constitutional right to lawfully carry a weapon, he is shot dead from the back, under the premise that any black man carrying a gun must be a criminal and must be shot by all 2 police officers. Everything about today carries the same fierce urgency of now as it did over 50 years ago. This observer appreciates, reveres, and honors the sacrifice of those who fought for us to be here now. We know, as Reverend Speller told us, that we have come over a way that with tears have been woven. As we sang, we have come treading our path through the blood of the sword, out from the gloomy past we are yet alive, brothers and sisters, the gleam of our bright star is past. It is our time to take our stand to lead and serve and advance the cause of justice in our community, our state of Alabama, and in these United States. Now is the time, as Dr. King declared, for vigorous and positive action, not just talk. Action. Christ, Jesus Christ, didn't just preach a good sermon. The Bible I read said he took action. He expelled the money changers from the temple by force. He fed the multitudes with the loaves and fish. He didn't say, I hope you get something to eat. I'm going to pay for it. He said, bring what you have. And using his power, he took action. All right. He changed water into wine to please his mother and see that the wedding feast at Cana was not spoiled. He healed the sick and lame. He cast out demons and restored sanity to people. He raised the dead. He suffered and died on the cross. Those were actions, not just words. Bold, individual, and collective, intelligent, thoughtful, effective, creative, sustained action by those assembled here is what is needed to make a difference in the outcome of things. Do not physically migrate or run away from a problem or situation. Migrate in your mind and spirit from a place of insecurity and uncertainty to a place of confidence and courage. With faith in God and the support and strength of the community, take vigorous and positive action to make a difference in the outcome of things wherever you are. If you voted in the November election, get ready for the next election. The ballot is the most powerful tool we have for change. The reason, one of the reasons, they crossed Edmund Pettus Bridge, endured Bloody Sunday, came back again, and marched was to get the right to vote. Now that we have it, we have to use it. The ballot affects every social, political, and economic decision made. That is why voter suppression is so important to some people. If you lose the vote, or take it away, or take away their enthusiasm to vote, you take away their power. The vote equals power, plain and simple. No vote equals no power. As an organization I belong to called Alpha Phi Alpha, and we invented the phrase that said, a voteless people is a hopeless people. I'll leave you with this thought. When Moses led the exodus of the people of Israel from slavery and bondage in Egypt, they soon fell into panic and despair when they came to the Red Sea in front of them and realized that Pharaoh's army was advancing in back of them to return them to captivity. Amid this panic and fear, they lost confidence in Moses and cried out in desperation to God. God spoke to Moses and said, "Why are you crying out to me? Tell the Israelites to go forward." And the people of Israel summoned the strength as a community and as a people to have faith in God in advance. At the Lord's command, they crossed the Red Sea on dry land, and Pharaoh's army was destroyed. In this 2019 year, as we assemble to celebrate the past, we not only celebrate the past, we contemplate the present and form visions for the future. it appears that we as a people, an African American community within the United States, find ourselves symbolically sometimes with the Red Sea in front of us and Pharaoh's army advancing behind us. But our charge, given to us by the ancestors and saints across the ages and generations, which echoes down to the corridors of time and history to this very hour and this very place is, we as a people must stand up on our feet and with faith in God go forward. That is the Lord's command. Do not be afraid and disheartened, brothers and sisters. Remember, as Harriet Tubman reminded Frederick Douglass, God lives.